y'all, and welcome back to Over 40 with the Shawty, the podcast where we get to keep it real about the joys, the chaos, and the beautiful complexities of becoming a mama a little later in life. I'm your host, Hovan, and today we're going to be talking about one of those moments that can feel both exciting and nerve wracking. That is announcing your pregnancy. Now, listen, this episode is for anybody who's ever sat there staring at a pregnancy test like, okay, now what? Or even those mamas who are a few months into this journey and they're starting to feel like Beyonce with the belly, but they're still debating if it's time to let the world know. Wherever you are in your journey, girl, I got you. Let's get into it. So here's the thing. When it comes to announcing pregnancy, there are no rules, like none. Like, this ain't the royal family, and you don't have to send out a press release. And you absolutely do not owe anybody a grand performance unless that's what you want. And I'm speaking from experience. When I found out I was pregnant, whew, baby, it was a whole thing. And not just the physical part, because y'all, the nausea was enough to take me out. I mean, it was next level. But the emotional and mental roller coaster I was on, whew, uh-uh. So when I think about announcing, I wasn't out there rushing to make some big old Instagram post with matching outfits and ultrasound. And y'all know I love a matching outfit and a matching t-shirt. But listen, mm-mm. Nope. The first folks that I actually told, they were told via text. That's right. A text message. Nothing fancy, just hey, it turns out I'm pregnant. And yeah, that's what I had in me to give people, and that's what they got. That includes my husband and my mama. And then I told a couple of close friends that you guys know. And honestly, that was just perfect for where I was at mentally at the time. Like, I was still trying to wrap my own head around all of it. And those were the people that I happened to already be talking about, or talking to about life's latest drama. So it just kind of came out like that. And then I waited. I took my time when I felt good and ready, and not when the society told me to, and not when the pregnancy app said it was time, and not when, you know, other people started making their own announcements. Like, I started telling more people when I was ready. Um, and that took a couple months. That took several months. For my parents, well, I mean, my mom already knew, but like for my dad and my sisters, um, I decided that I wanted to have some onesies made for them. So I found some cute little onesies on Etsy that had things on it that said, "You're going to be an auntie," or "Grandpa status loading," or stuff like that. And we did the same thing for a few other family members. We sent them onesies with the appropriate "you're going to be" or "surprise," yada, yada, yada. And we loved that. Like, for me, it was cute. It felt personal. I got to do it on my own terms. I got to make it special for the people who were closest to me. And so it didn't just feel like some big generic, Facebook announcement. Um, and yeah, it was nice. And then for our close friends, so for a few of my close friends, oh baby, I got to get a little bit creative with them. It wasn't that creative, y'all. Listen, we like to drink. So my close friends received some bottles of wine, and those bottles of wine had custom labels, or they came in these custom bags that announced that we were expecting. And it was wonderful. I felt like Oprah, and you get a bag, and you get a bag. or bottom. So it was nice. We got to drop our pregnancy announcement in the form of Chardonnay and or Sauvignon Blanc. Or no, actually, I say that, and y'all know I'm a red wine drinker, so it was probably either some Merlot or a Cab. Um, but either way, it was nice. My friends got to celebrate. I mean, I couldn't toast with them, but it was nice to be able to surprise them in that way. And then there was our girls, our daughters. We also had onesies made for them. Also, a little surprise gift, and I think it said now loading, and the other one might have said, "We promise this is the last one." And their reaction was priceless. It was mixed. It was hilarious. But again, we got to make that special for them and include them in, the process. So let me think about the timing. So most of that happened probably around month 5. I know some people let the world know earlier than that. I mean, some people think 12 weeks is the magic number. And then there's some people who announce even earlier. But like I said, I personally needed to feel solid first before I started telling a whole lot of people. I may have told my sisters a little bit earlier than that. Pretty sure I did. But for in general, the rest of those announcements didn't happen to around 4 or 5 months, and that was a sweet spot for us. So that was like all of our maybe immediate close family members, and then there was the rest of our extended family and the rest of our friends and how we wanted to tell them. And for me, I liked being able to tell people either in person or through some, gift or something like that. So we waited for the 4th of July. We had a cookout, and my grandmother and aunts, uncles, and some cousins were in town, as well as some close friends came. And so we decided to turn that into the reveal party, meaning we were revealing to everyone we were pregnant, but we were also going to do a gender reveal. So it was great. I made my sisters the keeper of the genders. So only my sisters knew. Well, of course, let me be very clear. Me and my husband already knew the gender. We were not out here being surprised. But the rest of the crew, this was going to be a surprise for them. So I tasked my sisters with being the keepers of the gender. They had T-shirts made and printed for people. So as folks were coming to the 4th of July event, they were getting a T-shirt that said, "I'm just here for the sex," and to girl or boy on the shirt. And that, for sure, they were all like, "What is this? What's going on?" Yeah, we're classy, but we're also real around here. So that's how we told folks that somebody in the house was pregnant. And for me, I thought I was showing. Like, I thought you could tell for sure I was pregnant. But apparently I was just looking fat, so nobody knew it was me, which was, I don't know, offensive. No, I don't know how I felt. I had mixed feelings about that. But it was great because we decided to let her tell people that she was the one who was pregnant. So she was walking around with the shirt underneath, like a jacket that she then took off that said expecting, or I don't know what the shirt said, now loading baby or something like that. And so we set everybody in the living room. She came out and she said, she was talking specifically to our grandmother, and she was like, we just wanted to tell everybody that I'm having a baby. And then, of course, she transitioned to, it's like, I'm kidding. I got my tube tied years ago, and announced that I was actually the one having the baby. So, of course, it was met with a ton of surprise because nobody was expecting that. They probably would have expected, I don't know, anybody else in the house to be announcing their pregnancy, but nobody was expecting it to be my announcement. So quite hilarious to watch everyone respond to that. It was a joyful moment. It wasn't anything crazy out there, but just, just the sheer shock of like, who? You? You sure? So that was great. And then double whammy, surprise, I'm pregnant and we're having a girl. So we did that throughout the day. We just play little games, let people try to guess if it was going to be a girl or a boy. And then we announced at the end of the evening with a fireworks show that it was going to be a girl. So it's nice. Who else? Oh, work. Now let's talk about work. I work from home, which is and has and was a blessing. Because I'm telling you, I was so sick, like violently sick, and I had to cancel all my work travel, which initially didn't raise eyebrows, but eventually folks were starting to wonder if something was wrong. So I did confide in a few colleagues sooner than the bulk of the workforce, just because, you know, they were the planners of these travel or these events, and I just wanted to let them know that they would have to find other people to fill in for me, just because I can't attend. So I decided to just be transparent with them and tell them why. And yeah. So, but because I told those few colleagues, I also felt compelled to tell my bosses at that time because I didn't want them to hear from other people. And so I was like worried about that. So it's like I wasn't really ready to tell them yet, but let me go ahead. And I should have thought this through. I should have thought this through a little bit better. But let me go ahead and tell my bosses. So I told my bosses, and of course, they were very supportive, and I asked them not to, make any broader communications because I wasn't ready to tell people, and they were completely understanding. Eventually, one of my bosses said, like, "When are you planning to tell people?" And I'm like, "I don't like before I go out on maternity leave. Like, I don't know. It's not on my to-do list. It's not very high on my to-do list." And, he was like, well, here's the deal. You're going to be going out in short order. We need a transition plan. We got to start telling people. And, folks might want to do something for you as well. So I said, well, I don't require people to do anything for me. Let me be clear. I'm not one to celebrate a lot of my personal life stuff at work. Like, I don't know. I'm weird like that. And so I hold a lot of things close to the vest when it comes to my personal life. And but I decided that it was fair to go ahead and start telling people so that we can start thinking about a plan to transition my work to someone else in my absence during maternity leave. So I started thinking about how I wanted to communicate that. And I also had a work event that was coming up in August that I had helped, co-create with some colleagues. It was going to be a big deal, a big thing. And I, had planned to be there in person to help execute on, this 2-day summit. So I had to tell some people. And believe it or not, I told a few people, not a lot of people, but a few people, and then showed up at the event with my big belly. And that was fun. I was like, hey, y'all, yes, it's me. And I'm growing a whole human in here. And it was wonderful. They were very supportive and excited and all the things. And then for the rest of the team, I just sent an email letting people know shortly after that I was pregnant because I was going to be back on site for an event in September that I organized, a training. And this training was also going to be live video casted to everyone who couldn't attend live. So I needed to tell more people because I didn't want to pop up on their Zoom on this live stream, looking like I was 13 and a half months pregnant. So I drafted a cute little email, told the rest of the team. And so it was nice. Then for those who didn't get the email because they weren't a part of my immediate team, they were still surprised to see me in September. But they were so supportive. I think I made a lot of good friends in September. who are colleagues who just showed out. I mean, they were like, "What do you need?" And here's my number, and here's these resources, and have you thought about this? Like, just amazing women, and a great experience. I'm glad I got to see them, before I went out on maternity leave, and that they just got to be a part of that tribe for me in the months to come. And then that was about it. That was August, September. Oh, also in September, um, other friends of ours who we travel with every year um, got to find out when I showed up on our annual trip pregnant. Yeah, y'all. I was doing the most. I was doing the most. And it was beautiful, right? At first, I was like, this is ghetto. Who about to show up on this whole group trip pregnant? Like, that ain't gonna be fun. And people are gonna be, looking at you sideways and having something smart to say. And then my friends were like, F them people. We want to see you, and da 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 da, and we got you, and blah 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 blah. Right? I'm like, oh, we're gonna be out the country with a whole bunch of people partying and all this other stuff, right? And I'm like, I don't know. At the end of the day, I decided that it's going to be a part of my, the baby moon, where I just do this for me, because I don't know when I'm going to see my friends again and get to, chill at the pool or dress up for one of the theme parties again. It might be a long time, so let's just do it. So I went, and it was wonderful. Of course, we have a lot of Black professionals on this trip, including nurses and doctors. So I was surrounded by lots of people, lots of love, and lots of support and protection. So really nothing to be worried about. And it was amazing. And people enjoyed finding out that I was pregnant as I was walking to the pool with my belly out and my two-piece. Because y'all, again, I'm classy, but I'm real. Um, and then the last surprise we had in 2023, man, we had a lot of surprises. We did a baby shower. When I say we, it was against my will. That's a whole another topic for a whole nother day. But we did have a baby shower, and at the baby shower, we announced that we were also married. And so our friends were finding out in quite a few short months that they were going to be aunties and uncles. And oh, by the way, they have a new brother-in-law. Yeah, so it's good. We'll talk about that whole why did I get married drama or story later. It's not drama actually at all. So I shouldn't even position it that way. It was beautiful, but so yes, 2023 was the year of surprises. And it was great. So I feel like I just actually went off on a tangent a bit, because this is not necessarily about all of those surprises. So let's just get back to like the moral of the story, which is, again, there are no rules. Whether like you want to shout it from the rooftop or write it in the sky, or if you just want to keep it low key until you can't no more, until your belly is announcing it for you, like it's your choice. You tell who you want, when you want, how you want, period. For me, announcing early didn't feel right. I wasn't in the best headspace. I wasn't really ready to celebrate. And to be honest, everybody isn't gonna respond with joy or sensitivity. Like, some folks be on some wild stuff. They want to offer crazy unsolicited advice. They want to make weird comments and project their own baggage onto you and your news. And I just wasn't going to subject myself to that. I needed peace. And I decided that, yeah, I'm choosing peace over performance. And so I waited. And looking back, I wouldn't change a thing. In fact, if I had to do it all over again, which I am not saying I'm doing, um, I'd probably wait even longer. But that's just me. For other people, like, announcing early is the right thing to do. And it can bring like a tremendous amount of joy and connection and support, and even a peace of mind for them. And that's beautiful. There is no wrong way to do it. There's no wrong time. There's no too early, there's no too late. Like whenever that feels right for you, I say follow your heart. So, if you are listening to this and debating whether to tell your mama, your group chat, your HR rep, or your dog, take a deep breath and just check in with yourself and do it. Just do what feels right. That's it. So that's all for today's episode of Over 40 with a Shawty. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you. Leave me a comment or a review. Share with your friends, slide in my DM, and let me know, how'd you announce your pregnancy? Or are you still keeping the tea close to the chest? Either way, you got this, and I got you. Until next time, keep shining, keep growing, and remember, you make the rules.